Here's the brief. News from the world over this week. Investigators are still looking for answers in the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. Stephen Paddock killed 58 people and injured some 500 more on Sunday in Las Vegas when he shot into a crowd of thousands at a country music festival from his 32nd floor perch at the nearby Mandalay Bay Hotel. In the immediate hours following the tragedy, Democrats renewed their call for gun control, targeting both Republicans and the National Rifle Association for blocking measures to restrict gun ownership. President Donald Trump met with victims, doctors, and first responders in Vegas on Wednesday. He commended all involved for their hard work and bravery.
The example of those whose final act was to sacrifice themselves for those they loved should inspire all of us to show more love every day for the people who grace our lives. In the months ahead, we will all have to wrestle with the horror of what has unfolded this week, but we will struggle through it together. We will endure the pain together, and we will overcome together as Americans. May God bless and watch over those who protect us. May God bring healing to the families of the wounded, the injured, and the fallen. And may God bless our great country, America. Thank you very much.
And the long road to recovery continues in Puerto Rico in the wake of Hurricane Maria. President Trump met with Puerto Ricans and surveyed hurricane damage on Tuesday. He praised federal responders and congratulated locals for avoiding a high death toll like that of Hurricane Katrina. The official count of those who have died in Hurricane Maria stands at 34. Nearly 2 weeks after the Category 4 storm made landfall, 95% of the U.S. territory remains off the power grid, and about half the island is still without clean water. More than 10,000 federal officials are on the ground assisting in the recovery effort. Keep them in your prayers. The Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act passed the U.S. House of Representatives this week. The measure would ban most abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy, except to save the life of a mother or in cases of rape or incest. The Republican-led measure passed largely along a party-line vote, save for 3 Democrats. The White House issued a statement Monday applauding the House for continuing in its efforts to secure critical pro-life protections. The bill now awaits consideration in the Senate, where it is expected to be filibustered by Democrats. And Catalonia is on the verge of separating from Spain after an overwhelming referendum in favor of secession on Sunday. Catalonia's regional government is considering when to declare independence in the wake of a disputed referendum that has triggered Spain's most serious national crisis in decades. Madrid says the referendum is illegal and invalid and has been bitterly opposed to any move for independence. Spain's national government used security forces to try to stop Catalonians from casting votes. The confrontation turned violent as some 800 people were wounded, according to officials. Church leaders condemned the violence as deplorable. Cardinal Juan José Omea of Barcelona urged that a peaceful and democratic way out of the situation be found. And Maronite Patriarch Cardinal Bashara al-Rahi says that the Syrian refugee situation in Lebanon has become unbearable. More than 1.5 million refugees have fled Syria to the neighboring country since the beginning of the Syrian civil war in 2011. Cardinal al-Rahi said that Lebanon must not wait for the international community, but should exert strenuous efforts to return the displaced to safe regions in Syria. The refugee influx into Lebanon has strained the country's infrastructure and has also sparked accusations that refugee camps are harboring militants from the war. And Boko Haram's ongoing insurgency in northern Nigeria has forced the closure of more than half of the schools in the region, leaving about 3 million children without a means of education. This according to the United Nations Children's Fund. Nearly 2,300 teachers have been killed by Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria since 2009, and nearly 1,400 schools have been destroyed. Across Nigeria, more than 10 million children are not in school. Pope Francis has reappointed Cardinal Raymond Burke to the Apostolic Signatura in Rome, the Vatican's highest canonical court. The Pope made the surprise announcement this past weekend. You'll recall that Pope Francis removed Cardinal Burke as head of the Signatura in 2014, who until a few months ago served as patron of the Knights of Malta. Following the announcement, the National Catholic Register's Edward Penton reported that Burke's assignment is only part-time, allowing him to serve as a judge on the court when needed. Cardinal Burke has been the prime mover in the dubia, or questions submitted to the Pope, asking for clarification of teachings related to his apostolic letter Amoris Laetitia. According to Cardinal Burke, this new appointment will not change or delay his plans for a formal correction of Pope Francis should the dubia continue to go unanswered. We'll keep watching this story. And at his regular Wednesday audience on October 4th, Pope Francis invited young people from around the world to meet in Rome early next year to discuss the topic for the next Synod of Bishops. The meeting next October will focus on youth and vocational discernment. But in advance of that meeting, in late March of 2018, the Pope will bring together young Catholics, other Christians, and even non-believers to get their input in advance of the Synod. Now, according to Pope Francis, the Church wishes to, quote, listen to the voices, feelings, faith, and even the doubts and critiques of the youth, end quote. We'll certainly keep our eyes on that development.